Now we only have two angles that we still need to find, angle F and angle H. Angle F and angle H are opposite angles in the parallelogram, so they will be equal. But without the value of one, we cannot find the value of the other. So let's see what we do have. Angle F sits in triangle FJG. So let's make this triangle red. In this triangle, we know that angle J is Y and angle G is Y. So we can use this to find a value for angle F. So we can say in triangle FJG. Now we know from our previous videos that the interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we can say angle F plus angle J plus angle G is equal to 180 degrees. And as our reason, we say the interior angles of a triangle. Now, we don't know the size of angle F. This is the value we're trying to find, but we already know that angle J is Y and angle G is Y. So we can say angle F plus, we know that J is Y, so we say plus Y for angle G is equal to 180 degrees. Now, to find a value for F, we make angle F the subject of this equation. We say F is equal to 180 degrees, and then we move the two y's to the right, so we get minus 2y. This is the value for angle F. So let's put 180 degrees minus 2y into our diagram, and we can make it black again. Finally, we can look at the whole parallelogram, EFGH. So let's make it blue. We know that opposite angles are equal, which means that angle F, let's make it red, is equal to angle H. We can make this red as well. Now we can make the statement that angle H is equal to angle F because opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal. Angle F is 180 degrees minus 2y, which means that angle H is also equal to 180 degrees minus 2y. And we've now found all the interior angles in this diagram. I'd like to do one more example. KLMN is a parallelogram. KN is equal to ON and LO is equal to LM. Angle NOM is 96 degrees and angle LOM is equal to X. A, find with reasons two other angles equal to X. B, find angle K in terms of X. And C, calculate the value of X. Now, this question gives us a lot of information. So before we start with part A, let's mark this info down on our diagram. The first thing the question tells us is that Kn is equal to On. So let's put a small blue line on Kn and a small blue line on On to show that these lines are equal in length. The question also tells us that LO is equal to LM, but LM and KN are opposite sides of the parallelogram KLMN, and we know that opposite sides are equal, which means that LM is the same length as KN. So let's put a small blue line on LM as well. LO is equal to LM, so we can put a small blue line on LO. All four of these lines are equal in length. The question also tells us that angle NOM is 96 degrees. So let's put this angle into our diagram over here for NOM. It also tells us that angle LOM has a value of x. So let's put x into our diagram for angle LOM. Now we can start with part A. Find with reasons two other angles equal to x. Now in the diagram, we can see that we have two triangles with two equal sides, KON and LOM. But LOM also has an angle of x. So let's start here. Let's make this triangle red. This triangle has two equal sides, which means it's an isosceles triangle, which we know also has two equal angles. So we can say in triangle LOM, LO is equal to LM. We know this because this information has been given to us. So we say given as our reason. Now angle X sits over here at O. Let's make it green. This is an isosceles triangle, which means it has two equal angles. Our equal angles sit opposite the equal sides. Angle M1 sits opposite side LO. So let's make this angle green as well. Side LO is equal to side LM, which means that angle M1 must be equal to angle O. Angle O is x, which means that angle M1 is also equal to x. And this is because they are the angles that lie opposite equal sides. Now let's take our red triangle out. Let's take out our green arcs. We can take out angle M1 and write x into our diagram. And now we need to find another angle equal to x. We don't have enough information in triangle KON or NOM, so we can't use these. But we know that we can use parallel and transversal lines to find angle relationships. The question tells us that KLMN is a parallelogram, and we know that parallelograms have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. In this case, KN is parallel to LM. So let's put a small blue arrow on KN and a small blue arrow on LM to show that they are parallel. We also know that KL is parallel to NM. So let's put two blue arrows on KL and two blue arrows on MM to show that these sides are parallel as well. Now we consider transversal lines. NO cuts KN, but it doesn't touch the parallel line LM. OM cuts LM, but it doesn't touch KN. So we cannot consider these as transversal lines for KN and LM. But what about our other pair of parallel sides, KL and NM? Let's take out our arrows and we can make these two sides blue. NO and OM touch both of these parallel lines. So they are both transversal lines. So which one do we use? We need to find an angle relationship for X, which sits over here next to line MO. So let's make this transversal line purple. Now we've created a Z shape. The angle at O sits inside the Z shape. Let's make it red. An angle M2 also sits inside the Z shape. So let's make this red as well. Now we have alternative angles which are equal. So we can see that angle M2 must be equal to X because these are alternative angles. We also need to include why these are alternative angles. And in this case, it is because KL is parallel to NM. And we know that this is true because these are opposite sides of a parallelogram and they are parallel. And now let's take out our red arcs. Let's tidy up our diagram a bit. Let's take out angle M2 and we can fill in X. And now we can move on to part B. Find angle K in terms of X. Remember that when you have a question broken down into separate parts, such as A, B, C, and so on, you can use your answer to one part to help you find the answer to the next. We know that angle K lies directly opposite angle M. So let's mark angle K in red and angle M in red as well. We know that in a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal. So in this case, we can make the statement that angle K is equal to angle M because the opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal. Now, angle M, the whole angle, is made up of X and X. So we can see that angle M is equal to 2x. We found this in part A. We don't need to prove it again. So as our reason, we simply say proven above. Now we know that angle K is equal to angle M. And if angle M is equal to 2x, then angle K is equal to 2x. Now we can take out our red arcs in the diagram and write 2x at angle K. And now we can move on to part C, calculate the value of x. And now there are many ways we can solve for x. We can look at parallel lines. We can find all the interior angles of the parallelogram. But we need to find the simplest, least time-consuming way. The question will never give you information just for the sake of it. Every bit of information helps us to find our answers. The question has told us that angle NOM over here is 96 degrees. And we also know that KOL is a straight line, which means that this whole angle over here is 180 degrees. We already know that angle O here is x. So let's see if we can find the unknown part on this side. This angle sits in triangle KON. So let's make this triangle red. This is an isosceles triangle because KN is equal to NO. An isosceles triangle has two equal sides and two equal angles. So let's see what else we can find. So we can say in triangle KON, KN is equal to ON. Put that over here. We know this is true because this information has been given to us. In an isosceles triangle, the angles opposite equal sides are also equal. So in this case, angle O is equal to angle K. And as our reason, we say angles opposite equal sides. Now in part B, we just found that K is equal to 2x. And if O is equal to K, we can see that angle O must also be equal to 2x. Now let's take out our red triangle. Let's make some space. And we can put 2x into our diagram for angle O. Now we can look at the side KOL. Let's make it blue. KOL is a straight line, which means the whole of angle O must be 180 degrees. So let's make this whole angle red. Now we can make the statement that angle KOL is equal to 180 degrees. And as our reason, we say angles on a straight line. Angle O is made up of 2x, 96 degrees, and x. So now we can say 2x plus 96 degrees plus x is equal to 180 degrees. And now we have an equation we can use to solve for x. Let's start by adding like terms. 2x plus x gives us 3x plus 96 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. To get our x term by itself, we need to move 96 to the right. So we say 3x is equal to 180 minus 96 degrees, and we get 84 degrees. Finally, to get x by itself, we need to divide both sides by 3. So let's take our calculator. We say 84 divided by 3 is equal to 28. This is the value of x. And we have now completed this question.